In order for Alibaba to compete effectively amongst the higher level of competition that they're experiencing in the China online retail marketplace, they have to focus on three things. The first one is the customer, the second one is the products, and the third are the merchants that sell on their platforms. In part one of this Investor Day First Look series, I actually showed to you guys that Alibaba, they put out 5 presentations. In that first presentation, they broke it out into 4 segments, and in that first segment, they explained to you how they're focusing on the customer. In the second segment of the presentation, they're going to explain to you how they're focusing on the products. That's what we're going to cover in this video. You're watching More Money. Let's get it. So like I said in the intro, guys, in order to compete against higher competition, Alibaba really needs to turn it up. And the way that they're showing to us in the Investor Day presentation that they are turning it up is that they're focusing on the 3 most important areas. The first one is the customer, the second one is the products, and the third one is the merchants. And so that's exactly how they're going at this. And you can see that they are absolutely focused on specific product categories. If we go into the first slide, you can see here that the future growth opportunities that they are seeing largely come from 2 major areas. The first area, more penetrated and slower growing area, which is the apparel, cosmetics, and personal and home cleaning segments. And the whole idea here is we discussed in part 1 of this first look that the customers that are most interested in these product lines are your younger customers. And the whole idea with your younger customers is bring them into the ecosystem by offering these products, but you're going to try to incubate them as customers and roll them into those higher growing, higher sticky type product areas, which you can see in the presentation is the home decor and food and grocery areas. Of course, the home decor is largely what's being purchased by the 25 to 45 segment, and the food and groceries area, that's going to be something that's more of your older segment. So yeah, you're going to get your core segment purchasing those, but more so you're going to get your 45 plus segment relying on those purchases. And of course, you can see from this slide that these 2 areas have the highest online growth rate and they have the lowest penetration. So basically what we're saying is these are blue seas for Alibaba, and that's exactly what they're showing us. This is something that I did discuss briefly in my 6-part Alibaba series that I put out in the summer. So it's interesting that they're still reiterating that this is the strategy that they're going after. And what it really shows is what I was mentioning when I did my Q2 analysis, that Fresh, Hippo, Ellie.me, and all of these peripheral businesses are going to be very important to supplement their online marketplace businesses. So they really are growing an extremely important ecosystem as they're showing you with the product categories that they're choosing to focus on. Now they go into these product categories specifically, which you can see in the presentation. So starting with home decor, basically what they're trying to do is create sort of like a metaverse light with an online and offline services offering. With the online experience, you're basically able to see a 3D showroom content type experience. Imagine being able to walk through IKEA remotely from home as opposed to going to the store, figuring out the parking situation, walking through the lines, and etc. And the other cool thing that they're doing here is that they're not just focusing on the products, but they're also focusing on the whole purchase process, which includes delivery and installation. And this is an opportunity for them to generate higher revenues that they wouldn't necessarily get from the online ecosystem, but it is an add-on that is extremely important to customers. So the key takeaway here is they're largely doing what has worked in North America. One of the reasons why Best Buy has been so successful in the electronics space here in North America is because they don't just sell you the products, but they give you delivery and setup in home as well. So why not just make it as easy as possible? And that's largely what they're focusing on. So I really like that approach. Now moving into apparel, there's nothing really new here. It's just the old formula works really well. You got to have a combination of brands, designers, influencers, and a strong search function, which gives the users the right searched items in order to generate the highest amount of sales. And really the most important thing that I want you to focus on here is if you turn back to the presentation, you can see that they're looking to increase the experience with live streaming here on the bottom right by matching recommendations that are being made in the live stream. So that's a really new, innovative, and interesting item that I haven't seen really being done in North America yet. So I'll largely be looking at Alibaba to show sort of like how that's working. And it looks like China really is ahead of North America with the influence marketing, online streaming, and short videos space for showing products and selling them at a point of view type stimuli experience. So when it comes to Alibaba focusing focusing on the products, I got 3 main takeaways for you. The first one, it's very clear that they're focusing on growing by going where the consumer is already headed. And that's what those emerging product categories that we already discussed, such as the home decor and the food and grocery. The second takeaway is that they're focusing on these blue ocean opportunities. Like I said, home decor and food and groceries are types of opportunities that are largely underserviced right now, I believe, as they're growing in importance with online shopping. So focusing on these areas largely puts them out of reach by their competitors because they have such a good market capture already. And what I mean by that is Taobao and Tmall have such large market presences already. And so by adding these product lines to Taobao and Tmall will only make the offerings by these online apps more valuable to consumers. Finally, the third takeaway, and this is the most important one, is the way that they're targeting the products. So we can see that the beauty, cosmetics, and apparels, they're largely looking at those as incubator categories because those are more popular with the young demographic. And what they're really doing there is incubating them so that you can get them into the home decor and the food and grocery segments 5 years down the road once they sort of enter those markets. So it's a really long-term focus on the customer. And then you got your 25 to 45-year-olds where you're focusing on home decor, but you're also adding the food and grocery element to them because that will largely become more important to them as they get older and older. So what they're really doing is by focusing on the specific product categories and linking them to the user type, they're largely just combining the needs and wants of the different demographics that they've targeted with the specific product strategy that they're using. I think that's absolutely brilliant. And like I said, a further integration with the Alibaba ecosystem by bringing in Fresh Hippo and Ellie.me serves to work really well for them in the future, and it makes them more competitive. They become very difficult to compete against, and I like seeing this. What they're really doing in this presentation is that they're showing that they're not going to go down without a fight. These guys are in it for the long term. They are fighting, they are throwing punches, and this is exactly what I want to see as a shareholder in Alibaba. Remember that in Q2, the major concern was that they're worried about further online competitiveness. Well, this is the second example that they've showed on their Investor Day that they're going at it headstrong. If you want to see part 3 of my first look on the Investor Day video series, you can click on that video right here once it's available. If that's not available yet and you haven't seen part 1, click right here. That's a very important video if you're a shareholder of Alibaba.